This game proves of why I love playing with black. So my opponent on the fourth round was Spanish chess player and he started playing with knight on f3, which was really unexpected from him as he had many different kind of variations e4, c4, d4 and knight on f3 was pretty surprising for me, but I continued playing knight on f6, c4, e6 and g3. These variations seemed like the second round where my opponent continued like that and I expected it would continue like that way, but after d5, he played d4, which is transferring to Catalan, which I usually play as a white. I played here bishop b4 and my opponent played here knight d2, which was really uncommon for me as they usually play bishop d2 and as a white I play bishop d2 and I continue like that, but he played knight bd2. So here I took some time and I decided to castle and continue as I would regularly continue. a3 and I took on d2. Taking on d2 is not bad move, it's just I could have continued bishop e7 as well to remain my dark squared bishop and not to let to trade this into knight. But bishop d2 is very interesting as well and this is the opening it should be analyzed and I just took on d2 and played b6. Instead of b6 would be also other options like bishop d7 or c6, but I decided to play b6 in order to develop my bishop on b7 and he played bishop g2 and I played bishop b7, which is fine continuation. And he took on d5. Here I had a few different options, taking with bishop, taking with pawn, or taking with knight. I decided to take here with bishop, as if I would take with pawn, I felt that this bishop would become closed, so I didn't really like it. And if I would take with knight, I felt like after castle, this knight would be trapped, and if white would move knight on f3, I would not be able to move this knight, and e4 would be hanging, so that's why I liked to take with bishop, and which was a really good move. He castled, and I played knight d7. Now this position is excellent for me. Everything is very well coordinated, my pieces are developed, next move is c5, and I'm doing really well as a black here. He played rook c1 and I played c5. Idea is to just simply trade this pawn on d4 and just simply develop my pieces, then rook c8, queen e7, etc. And he took on c5, I took with knight, and he played bishop b4, which was not that much expected. I would expect him to play bishop e3, because after bishop b4, the idea is to trade this knight, and as he has a pair of bishops advantage, I would not really like to trade one of those bishops. But he played bishop b4, which was really good for me. I played rook c8. The idea here is to protect knight on c5, and after he takes, I will take with pawn. And here he made mistake. He played knight on e5. It's mistake because I can trade these light squared bishops and or play queen b6. The idea of queen b6 is to attack the pawn on b7, then play rook d8, so I'm getting really good position. And I played queen b6. And here he took on d5. This is another accuracy. It's because after queen b6, my position becomes really good here because there's idea rook d8 and bishop d5 is giving me more advantage as I can take it with pawn, and now these both pawns are super strong in the center, and that's why I have good position here. He played queen c2 to protect this pawn on b2. And here I played rook e8 just simply to threaten this knight and let him play bad move knight d3. Would be much better to play knight on f3 here, just simply to see what I would continue, then e3, not to allow d4, etc. But he played knight e3, which gave me possibility to attack this knight and play c4 and get more good play in the center. And look, like it's so big difference on time as well, as if you noticed also in previous rounds, I take a lot of time in the opening to continue as best as I can. So that's why sometimes I struggle with time in crucial positions. But in this game, I tried my best to think normally and not to lose as much time as I was doing on the round 2. And he played here knight on f4, and I played here rook b8. Rook b8 seems like it's an accurate move, but it's really logical move as a human, as it attacks pawn on b2, and then after queen d4, etc., this pawn becomes weak, and this pawn can't move as well. So that's why I liked rook b8, and I felt like rook on c8 is not doing anything. He played here rook b1, which is mistake. Would be much better here to play rook on fd1, probably just simply to use another rook and start creating some counter attack on d pawn. Here he played rook b1 and I played queen d6. Well, here we are different kind of options like to play a g5, etc. But I mean, it's really engine move to play g5, and logically my goal is to get double rooks on b5, I take this pawn on b2, etc. So here I played queen d6 to play queen e5 next. Seems like it would be much better to play rook e5 or g5, but queen d6 is really logical human move. He played rook d1 and I played queen e5. That's what I wanted, to attack this pawn on b2 and same time have my queen on e file. He played e3, which is strong move, just to push pawn and not allow d4. h6, prophylactic move, not to allow any back rank mate in future, and eventually just try to improve my position. Knight on e2, and I played here rook e6. Rook e6 seems like inaccuracy because it allows knight d4 with tempo, etc. But my goal was to get b file, doubled rooks on b file. So rook b6 would be much better, I think, because after knight d4 I would not be forced to play any other moves like rook b8, etc. Because after rook e6, after knight d4, I have to move this rook. But still, I played rook b6 and I'm still having good position as this pawn is weak on b2. And this is what I wanted to get. And here he made big mistake, and that's why this doubled rook paid off. He played queen on a4. Probably he wanted to give me b2 pawn to take on a7. But even if it happened like that, even if he would take here rook b2, and I would take with rook. After queen on a7, I have so many other options like knight on e4, queen on h5, etc. So my pieces are really well coordinated, and I can eventually like promote this pawn on c4. So that's big advantage for me. But here he made also another mistake, and he played knight c6. Thankfully, before I played rook b2, I saw knight c6 and I saw move queen e8. If there was no move, I would lose exchange. So thankfully, I saw queen e8. The problem of knight c6 is that he can't go back with knight, and same time he can't protect this knight with another piece. Like for example, after rook b2, if I would take with rook, and if queen on a6, there's just rook b6, and this knight on c6 is just simply hanging. So that's why it's lost, and even like any other moves, it's just simply losing a game. And he can't move knight and queen is hanging on a4, and he played rook c1. The idea of this move was that if I would play rook 8 b6, he would take with rook on c4 and then play rook d8. But well, it's still better for me, but of course I saw it and I played rook 2 b6, and now this knight is unprotected, it's pinned and nothing can happen, and my opponent just resigned. So, of course, I love playing with white as well, but this game was one of the best games I played with black, and I really, really like it. My accuracy was really high, around 94%. So, that's why I really enjoyed playing it. And if you also enjoyed with this recap, make sure to give thumbs up and subscribe my YouTube channel, and let me know in comments which color you like playing with in chess.